When it comes to good cooking skills and food with great taste, I think a greater percentage of those residing in this town will have to agree that Madame Oliva is second to none. Her tasty food has become one of the reasons young boys within the town has refused to get married and young girls growing lazy. Who thinks of entering the kitchen when Madame Oliva's kitchen is just a stone throw? I wouldn't want to talk about married men that barely eat their wife's food because of her kitchen. If the taste of food was the record to be broken, Hilda would have to be tutored by Madame Oliva. Common in her business was the use of young girls, either as apprentices or as workers. She had them little girls in good number that help her in the course of the kitchen services she renders for money. A female customer once noticed that none of the girls that worked for Oliva lasted in her shop for at least 4 months. It is either she claimed they were done serving or they found jobs somewhere else and decided to leave her. As young as these girls were, only few persons knew that beyond serving Oliva in the shop, she was also using them to serve customers, outside customers. She was into some sort of human trafficking. Human trafficking was the major business of Oliva and her darling husband, Mr. James. Despite living in a good house, no one was able to ascertain what Mr. James does to make a living. Some had argued that Olivier was the breadwinner of the house, while others claimed her husband was enjoying his retirement benefit, having worked for no verifiable firm. Today, I am able to tell the story of Oliva's family, all thanks to little Ella, the girl child she and her husband had brought from the village to continue their human trafficking business. While serving customers food, Oliva's girls were also used to serve her extraordinary customers food at home, especially men that take pleasure in having sex with underage girls. She had traveled to the village for a burial when she saw little Ella, went to her parents to discuss things with them, and they allowed her to come back to Port Harcourt with their daughter. Oliva promised Ella's parents that she would take proper care of her and even send the poor girl to school. The idea of bringing Ella from Akwa Ibom did not sit well with her husband, as he didn't fancy the fact that she was from Oliva's village. Let it be on record that Oliva and Mr. James were married for 6 years already without a child, but were not perturbed by that. What does it matter when she already had children all over her house? However, her husband still accepted Ella, reason being that they were running out of girls and Ella would be suiting for their kind of customers, as they were already complaining that the girls in their warehouse were already worn out. Lest I forget, Olivier's house also served as baby factory. She sold the male babies of these girls at 300k, while the female babies were sold for 230 or less. Most of their pregnancy don't last until 9 months before they give birth to a premature, and that also determines the cost of the child. They sold these babies to organ harvesters and those that seek to adopt a child. It was a huge family business, as the profit was 50 times bigger than what Oliva was making from her popularly known kitchen. Upon the arrival of Ella, Oliva and her husband saw the need for increased price. She was placed on VIP as her physical appearance was far better than the remaining girls working in their baby factory. They both agreed that she won't be used for reproduction of babies until after 3 years. By then, she must have fetched them a lot of money from being a sex toy from inhuman customers that would frequent their warehouse because of Ella. Oliva had gone to her restaurant when her husband called on Ella to start coaching her. Unlike most girls brought from the village, little Ella was still a virgin. Of course, she was too young not to be one. Before introducing her to another man, the onus was on Oliva's husband to get Ella disvirgined in preparation for what was to be in the coming days. To other girls that have been brought in, other men paid heavily to have them disvirgined, but Ella was too tempting to Oliva's husband. As such, he had to do the dirty job by himself while she was at the restaurant. Kingsley, who served as a middleman for men who took pleasure in sleeping with underage and those seeking to adopt a child. He comes in to pick the girls, but sometimes would have a taste of the girls as reward before leaving. Kingsley had come to pay a visit to his partner in crime, Mr. James. After a brief division and was set to leave, Mr. James' husband needed to give him one for the road. As such, Ella was to be presented to him. He carefully assessed Ella and was satisfied with what he had seen. He smiled as he questioned your husband if Ella was a new one, as he had not seen or been with her before. Your husband firmly told him that Ella hadn't been tasted by anyone apart from him who had to cleanse her. He assured Kingsley that he was going to enjoy Ella to the fullest. Kingsley went into the room with Ella and came out after a while. He informed Oliva's husband that he was right, as he really enjoyed Ella. He even appealed that Ella was reserved for him, as he would be coming from time to time. 2 years on, 8 years in marriage, without a child of her own. Oliva suggested it was time Ella joins others to start making babies, but Mr. James declined because he was still making out with Ella. Kingsley's friend, Silva, came home after spending 5 years in the UK and asked Kingsley to get him a nice girl to spend the night with. Of all girls known to Kingsley, he considered Ella to be befitting, as Silva had a smallish stature. For the very first time, Oliva and her husband allowed Ella to step out of the house for what would be called outside work, and the very first time Ella would leave their compound in 2 years. Neither Oliva nor her husband would have accepted Kingsley's request, as that could pose a threat to their business if Ella should run away, but Kingsley's fee was tempting and he assured them he would personally bring her home. Kingsley took Ella to Silva, who happened to be surprised to see an underage. Before Silva could say a word, Kingsley was able to shut his mouth by narrating how enjoyable Ella is and assured him that Ella would satisfy him. Kingsley left shortly with a sense of fulfillment as Silva kept staring at Ella. Ella got furious.
Oga for now, wetin happen when they look me like this? Never ready, abi, make I beg you.
That got Silva shocked, but Ella's voice depicted that she was still a little child. Silva stood up and had the door locked before coming back to Ella. He asked her of her age, which got Ella pissed and wanted to react, but Silva threatened to send her straight into the hands of the police if she doesn't give him meaningful reply. With tears rolling down the face of Ella, she told him she was 15 years but was introduced to what she is at the age of 13. Silva couldn't believe what he heard but became more curious. He asked her about her parents if they were aware of what she was doing here in the city. It was even more painful to him that Ella's parents were told something different from what their daughter was subjected to. Ella claimed Madame Oliva and her husband sent monthly stipends to her parents and claimed she was doing well in school. While at that, she knelt down crying and appealed to Silva to help her, as she was already sick but was yet to know what was wrong with her. Silva called Kingsley and told him he would be having Ella for 1 week and sent more money to him, which he, Kingsley, transferred to Oliva and her husband. More money than they had received in the last 2 years. Silva took Ella for some medical assessment, and it was discovered that she already had HIV/AIDS. At that point, he swore never to let Oliva and her family come out of it. At home, Oliva was already pregnant with a child. Sadly for her, in the course of her medicals, HIV/AIDS was also discovered in her system. It was obvious that her husband had contacted from Ella and had given Oliva her share. Silva arranged with the police and Oliva's house was raided. The police was able to rescue about 21 girls ranging from the age of 13-17 years. Some were with babies while others were pregnant. The presiding female judge sentenced Oliva and her husband to 15 years and 21 years in prison respectively. Sadly, Oliva will go to jail pregnant and HIV/AIDS to deal with.
Alright, thank you for staying with me. As for Mr. Kingsley, he's still on the run. But then I want you to come to the comment section and tell me what you think could be a better punishment for a man like Mr. Kingsley. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also hit the notification bell. Most importantly, share across all social media platforms. Thank you very much. See you on our next story. Bye.